agency on behalf of the plaintiff and the nature of the damages themselves.
Hello, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
I want to play a game.
I guess for a little bit, but I'm...
It's no secret that the Canadian grocery prices have been skyrocketing.
Can I go back to my show now?
Quiet. In your wallet is 200 Canadian dollars. You will proceed to the grocery store, in which you must buy enough food to feed a family of 4 people for 1 week. You are not to exceed this limit. If you go over that limit, there will be consequences. The clock is ticking. Begin making your choices.
Hey, guess what? The prices of Canadian groceries are ridiculous.
We have a grocery prices problem in Canada.
It's constantly going up, and I just don't even know what to do about it.
Ripping us off like they're ripping you off.
So we live in Ontario, Canada, and this small grocery haul here was $160.
Has anyone else noticed that the price of groceries in Canada has gone up significantly over the past year?
Now, many complex factors go into determining an item's price on a store shelf, but as of right now, the Canadian government and consumers are in the dark about just what that markup is. Is it only 1% for some items, but then 15 to 20% for other items? What Canadians are seeing are food prices increasing 4 to 10% year over year, but then general inflation numbers that were at one time climbing are now coming down over the last several months. So there is a real disproportion between food prices and inflation. Prices seem to keep climbing. In fact, many prices have never been higher. Add in grocery store stock prices, such as Loblaws' market share price right here, along with strong earnings that keep increasing, and many Canadian consumers are left wondering, are Canadian grocery stores really still experiencing thin, narrow profit margins, or are they secretly lining their pockets? Are Canadian grocery stores purposely using difficult factors to measure and account for, like economic conditions, as a scapegoat to shield and hide their true profits? Gave $26 million to Costco and Wal-Mart in recent years for energy-efficient appliances. It sure doesn't paint a great picture when Canadians are struggling to put food on the table every week. However, in fairness, Galen Weston has turned the stock right around from where it was a few years ago.
We have families going into your stores, looking at the price of items, looking at them and putting them back because they can't afford them. We have families that are struggling to buy food for their kids in this country, in a G7 country.
The common sentiment and worry among Canadians is that grocery stores are overinflating their prices and secretly marking them up because, well, they can. Canadian consumers feel that in Canada, there is a severe lack of competition in the grocery sector, unlike the stiff competition found in the US.
The Bureau says we have a problem. We think a lack of competition is behind it, and there are some key ways government can start to fix it.
Right now, there doesn't appear to be much stopping grocery companies from determining, well, we don't want a 2% markup on this product, we want a 20% markup. The Canadian government and consumers are forced to take these companies at their word, trusting that they're not in fact doing this because we can't get a look at their exact profit margins for each item. There is a lack of transparency because Canadian grocery companies are very reluctant to crack open their books and give us a detailed analysis of their costs. Which begs the question, how much profit is too much profit?
So a company needs some degree of profit.
How much profit is too much profit? You're making more money than you've ever made. How much profit is too much profit?
Companies say that it's in our best interest to not have this code of conduct implemented, that they're looking out for us, the consumers, and that they're reinvesting this money back into the country. Some people speculate that these companies will continue to hold these high prices until, well, someone blows the whistle or regulations are put in place.
But it's probably not going to be Loblaws or Walmart because they have too much to lose.
For comparison, here is the 5-year Dow Jones market share performance. The Dow Jones tracks the 30 largest companies in the US, such as Microsoft, Apple, and Coca-Cola. So we'll take this 5-year Dow Jones market history and we'll compare it with Loblaws' 5-year share price market history. Wow, it would appear that Loblaws and other grocery companies aren't doing too shabby.
Hooah!
In case we haven't met, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst. I'm trained, well, in interpreting and analyzing financial statements and presenting data just like this for management. This is the first in a series of videos that I've made regarding grocery prices and grocery companies in Canada. Over the last few years, overall food price inflation was going up, but certain categories were not going up as much. There were lots of weird and interesting nuances. Meat was going up by quite a bit, oil was going up, bakery products were going up, fruit was going up, and then sort of odd things like tomato and lettuce were coming down. Here's a wild idea. If grocery stores are making as much money as everybody knows they are, why can't they fix their grocery carts? Ever. Food prices are set to increase 2.5 to 4.5% in 2024. Baked goods, vegetables, and meat are projected to increase 5 to 7% in 2024, and spending for a family of 4 people will be about $16,400 per year, an increase of $700 more from 2023. Other food prices are expected to level out. However, the number of people visiting their local food bank has definitely been increasing.
Now, if we see food inflation slow to 2.5%, that's a big improvement.
However, they are still very high. I remember in 2020, my family was spending about $200 a week for groceries to feed a family of 4. Now, currently, we're spending around $350 at least every week to buy groceries. How much are you spending on groceries? Let me know in the comments below. On this food price index, you'll see that the more red a country is, the higher the prices when compared with other countries that are in green. I was surprised because it appears that groceries are more expensive in first world countries when compared with less developed countries. Canada currently ranks 15th, right behind Australia, New Zealand, and of course the United States. Grocery store management and executives offer explanations and excuses such as, well, current high grocery prices are the result of our current high inflationary environment, or Canada having high distribution costs because of its large land mass and having to disperse that over the whole country. Hence, it's costing more to hold and distribute food across small towns and rural areas. Large chain CEOs continue to hold the premise that they are competitive and they are not profit mongering.
Why is that happening? What's driving these sky-high food prices?
Well, there are macro factors. Canada is not alone. This is a global phenomena. So you have to think about COVID and the pandemic and supply chain disruptions. A lot of companies have been trying to get ahead of some of that volatility.
Our grocery store industry is a cozy compact between a small number of very big companies, and they were able to take advantage of this situation to fatten their own profits.
That is not an indication of bad practice. It's not an indication of some sort of profiteering. It's just an indication of a business operating exactly the way that it should.
However, since inflation has started to come down from its previous high in 2023, this is leaving many people scratching their head as to why food prices have also not come down. One thing that does kind of baffle me is that the explanations such as Canada having a large landmass with the population dispersed throughout the country, well, that's always been there. These have always been factors. So why is it in just the last few years that this is becoming a severe cost? Also, COVID and supply chain issues. COVID started in January 2020. Does it really take 3 to 4 years to work out all of the kinks? It's not a well-kept secret that there is far more competition with grocery stores in the United States than there is in Canada with our 3 or 5 big main retailers. In Canada, we have a total of 5 major retailers. Loblaws, Sobeys, Metro are the big main players, but there's also Costco and Wal-Mart, which are huge, of course, but they sell more than just groceries. Also, each of these 3 big chains have thousands of stores, more than Walmart and Costco have. Combined, these 5 stores make up 80% of the market. So while there looks like there's a lot of competition in Canada, these 3 main retailers form an oligopoly in the Canadian food industry.
Code was created because we have an overly consolidated food industry. And unfortunately, that's led to some real distortions in market practices.
In the US, there are many, many more stores which are not linked and so interconnected, leading to more competition. For comparison, I found a list of the most popular grocery retailers in the United States. There appears to be a lot more selection in America. However, Canada and the US have roughly the same landmass, but the US has a much larger population, which is a factor in economies of scale.
It's also true that in a system where there's less competition, prices generally go up. And consider, last year, the 3 largest grocers, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Metro, combined had more than $100 billion in food sales.